many people do not realize is that the aftermath of September 11th has caused so many 9/11 first responders, those that are considered America's heroes, to also fall fatally to what they were exposed to on 9/11.
Gary White was an American hero in 2001.
Did you actually get diagnosed as being directly sick from 9/11?
In 2010, the 9/11 first responder represents an exploding health crisis U.S. officials have failed to address.
It's totally across the page. Carcinoma, sarcoma, gallbladder cancer, liver cancer.
The retired NYPD detective spent 6 months sifting through World Trade Center debris and clouds of toxins, later resulting in asthma, sleep apnea, post-neurological problems, and 2 strokes.
The first one was massive. I was paralyzed. I lost command of my speech. I had to learn how to walk and talk again.
The police department denies his illnesses are linked to 9/11.
Yep, still fits.
Leaving the 23-year veteran with mounting medical debt.
This one wants $1,453.
And a daily dose of 15 medications.
Inflammation pills, pills to stop the cramping in my legs so I can walk, blood pressure medications.
The worst attack on U.S. soil took place here on September 11th, a day when nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in a matter of hours. And in the 9 years that have followed, 900 first responders have died, victims of their own courage. NYPD Sergeant Michael Ryan was diagnosed with 3 types of cancers before losing his battle at just 41 years old. Eileen Ryan is just one of many widows who lost a heroic husband post 9/11.
All these men and women that are fighting for their life right now, it's a progress, it's time, it's watching a loved one disintegrate in front of your face, and just the fight to stay alive.
And it's a fight that can break even the strongest. John Devlin was diagnosed with throat cancer. Hospital bills top $1 million.
We do so much overseas, and I'm not saying not to do it. We're a powerful nation. We should lead by example, but we're not leading by example here. We're not leading by example here when you turn your backs on the 9/11 emergency responders.
Those who sacrificed for the country now left struggling alone. Marina Portnaya, RT, New York.
And when we talk about media attention, it's very interesting to juxtapose how much of it is surrounding these pastors and the Quran burning, and how little attention is given to this story. Marina, have you been able to figure out why that's the case?
You know, when I speak to a lot of these 9/11 first responders, what they say to me is that they feel the rest of the country essentially has forgotten about 9/11 and forgotten about the aftermath of 9/11 and what people may be suffering from. That's essentially the common thread of those people that I've spoken with. They feel like America has moved on aside from New York, and now it's considered a New York City problem. Now, as for mainstream media, I don't know why they would not report this story day in and day out, because it is such an important story. Dina, we have to remember that less than 2 weeks after the September 11th attacks, the EPA came out and said the air is safe to breathe. More than 70,000 first responders and rescue workers went down there and worked round the clock for more than 10 months under the guarantee that the government said the air is safe to breathe. And now you have people, men and women, falling victim to cancer and dying from cancer and leaving their families behind.
You know, it's interesting. I've interviewed several 9/11 first responders, as have you, and I get the sense that they're almost to the point that they're about to give up. They said, how much longer can we sort of, quote unquote, sell death to the U.S. Congress, to the U.S. government to go ahead and finally do something about it, pass some legislation?
Well, some may be a little disenchanted, but I have to tell you that those that I speak with and have been speaking with for more than a year, the activists and the advocates and the 9/11 first responders themselves, they're committed. They're committed to getting this legislation because they feel that they're deserving of it, and they have seen so many people die in the past 9 years as a result of 9/11 related diseases. The toxins that they were breathing, those first first responders for so many months. Then they die at 40 years old, 41 years old from 3 different types of cancers. So this is a moment that is dedicated to all those that lost their lives, you know, digging through the debris and helping the city rebuild.
And, you know, as sad as it is, we often talk about, you know, partisan politics getting in the way of actually passing this legislation. So I want you to talk about next steps here.
Well, the next step is that this bill is supposed to be voted on, possibly in September or October. Now, if it were to pass, the federal 9/11 health legislation, it would give approximately a little bit over $7 billion of health coverage and compensation to all those rescue workers and first responders that went down to ground zero. Now, I think at this point, all the politicians, the legislators, were actually called out by a gentleman named John Field. He runs the Feel Good Foundation, and when all this controversy over the mosque started, he wrote a letter saying, you guys are all paying attention, you elected officials are paying attention to a mosque that is not even built yet, that we don't know when it's going to happen, what's going to happen with it, and meanwhile, every single day, the people that we call America's heroes are dying, and you're not acting on it.